Hey, actually, how y'all doing today? Hope you're having a great fall. We are in PA. We had a kind of a cold September. We got a little bit of a frost, a couple frosts in late September, mid-September. October's been absolutely perfect. So a couple things I knew in the garden their time has come. They're done. I'll show you those spots, but a lot of great things, more positive than negative. So many things are just sprouting out of the ground now that I wasn't sure if they were going to produce, but they did. So let's take a look at our crop first. Getting some turnips. Some nice radishes. That's a little woody up there. If you remember, my woody beets, woody radishes and woody turnips can happen too. So I'll have to cut that off pretty low to get rid of the woodiness. Here's some better ones. Some nice ones there. There you go. Carrots. Eat ugly. Don't worry about these. The flavor's all the same. That looks like a body. A waist and two legs. A little creepy. But you might have to cut these up to get them cleaned properly because there's going to be some dirt wedged up in there. Just cut them off and clean them up. Lots of beans still coming. My heirloom tomatoes that I planted in June, late June and early July, now producing. Green peppers producing that weren't producing before. I'll tell you about those. Shoshitos, Anaheim, or poblano. Some hot Hungarian wax and banana peppers. Here's my beets. More radishes. There's some cherry tomatoes at the bottom. My cucumbers. So very proud moment for these cucumbers. So this hanging cucumber plant that I did, these plants have produced 10 to 15 already, and they've got 10 more on it. So you can see here, there's one there, 2, 3, 4 over there, little one, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's probably 2 more, there's 9, 10. There's at least 10 more coming, and then there's at least 15 more that are the small ones. See if I can find a little baby one still coming. Oh, here's a little one. There's a little one. So some of those, they look like they pollinated okay. Hopefully they still come. So I'm gonna get 30 to 40 cucumbers out of it late here. I'm still getting them. I love this new method. Now, if you see diseased leaves, this is from the soil. This is about the pH balance of the soil not being perfect. So if you really want to get yourself deep into gardening, you'll fix that issue next year. I might give it a try. I've never really done it before, but I might do it. But it keeps them nice and safe off the ground. So you want your garden damp, not moist, and there is a big difference. Damp is just where they're constantly kind of have some water in them, wet, but moist is where it's oversaturated. You start to see fungus growing and mold growing, and that's not what you want out of your garden. You want a lot of airflow in there, but you also want to keep it a little wet, just not too much. And then, of course, I think I got all of what I want to talk about except for the ghost peppers. So if you remember that ghost pepper bush I told you about that had 60 to 80 on it? Yeah, that's 96 ghost peppers. 96, and it still has 60, 70 more. So that bush is going to give me over 300 ghost peppers this year. Insane. All right, let's look at what else we got. We got these. I forgot to tell you, but yeah, I had some cherry peppers. So these are mild cherry peppers, and they're ready to be picked. We have the heirloom. Here's some heirloom yellows still coming in. The jalapenos. I got a couple coming. The plant didn't produce much, but there's snuff coming. The habanadas, the not spicy habaneros. These are great for salsas. They're great for pickling. They're great for putting in on your sandwiches or just eating raw, to be honest with you. I love the flavor of habaneros. And these are about ready to be picked. They don't turn orange like other habaneros or red like some of them. These stay this kind of mild yellow color. Let's see, there's a green pepper plant that just started producing. And these are the mild banana peppers. Here are the heirlooms I was talking about. Still producing. Now, I haven't trimmed this in a while. I haven't touched this plant, but I'm still getting this. This is a late June, early July plant that is producing and still has some on it. You can see all these. These will all turn nice up here. Sriracha plant. I just picked some off of there. Oh, that's right. There's some sriracha peppers in there. These are about to turn red. There's still a lot on there. Here's another ghost pepper plant that I have that's separate from that other one that's starting to produce. I planted this one late. They're smaller. Here, let me see if I can pick one. But they're perfectly fine, so I'll show you the difference here. So this is a late plant. This is kind of what you get when you plant late. You don't always get the same size, but they're still gonna have the flavor. They're still gonna have the heat. They're just not as big. So again, it's perfectly fine. So the theme of the day, as I go through my garden, the theme of the day is what you're gonna hear is just plant. I planted some of this stuff at the times you're not supposed to plant, not the most ideal time, not the most desired time, but just put it in the ground. I haven't trimmed or pruned a lot of them. I want to see what some of them did on their own, and partly because some of it I just ran out of time and or just didn't feel like it for one day. Sorry, I get a little lazy too. I have my moments. But just put it in the ground. It'll grow. Those of you who say you don't have enough time, I'll repeat this constantly. You do have enough time. Just put something in the ground, let it grow. It takes 5 minutes to shop for it, depending on where you're. Maybe it takes, let's say, a half hour to shop for it. It takes 10 minutes to put it in the ground, and then you just leave it alone and let it grow, and it'll produce. So yes, you have enough time. Go out there and plant. Here's some more hot peppers, hot Hungarian wax peppers. There's my red cherry pepper plant, which has some. These are still going to turn red here. And that's about it there. Here's the dog digging up. He's over there. He's gotten big. I'll show you him in a little bit. There's some lettuce. I'm letting these weeds grow. So I'm at this point, here's what I do. At this point late, I don't try and stress the plants at all. If they're going to produce, they're going to produce. So I stop trimming and pruning basically by the end of September and let them grow. If I start cutting their branches, it stresses them out a little bit. So I just leave them alone. I don't want them to die. They're already at near the end stages of their life. So I stop pruning, let them go. Same with my garden. I let the weeds grow up now because they'll die and decompose over the winter and give me some natural nutrients in that ground. So that's a good thing. Here's some fennel, still growing. There's some spinach. A tomato plant, another random tomato plant that looks like it's gonna try and produce. We'll see. It might give it a shot. Here's this one that I planted in July, almost August. I've gotten about 15, 20 tomatoes off of that. And it's about done, but these will turn a little bit. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh, look at that. Can you see all those? Let me see. Those are all habaneros that are about to turn. This was a random habanero plant that came up in, I think it was late July, almost August. I just saw it there. I was planting carrots and it was just coming out of the ground. So I dug around it, tilled around it, and gave it some fresh fertilizer and some fresh compost, and it grew up on its own. Here's some carrots. There's the spots where I just picked the carrots. Leaf lettuce. Here's some beets that are almost ready. Oh, raspberries. Yeah, check this out. I'm still getting raspberries. Look at this thing. These are still perfectly fine. Some there. Some good ones there. Now, I did pick some already, but I'm still getting some good raspberries. This bean bush, producing nicely. More beans that I can handle. Here are my sprouts. We'll see if they pick up. They're still coming. You can see some little buds in there. We'll see if they grow to be big sprouts. But right now, they're not doing much, but we'll see. Broccoli. There's a nice head back there. Let me show you the difference here. Let me go grab a random head. So this is another broccoli plant here that's older than that over there. This one's been producing since the fall, or I'm sorry, since the spring. But let me see if I can show you, see if there's a good example here. Here. It's a good example. Now, is that broken? It's a little broken. You'll see the difference in these heads. You can see how this one's starting to separate on the left. Starting to separate, starting to flower. Not as dense. This one I can barely push my finger through. That is dense as could be. That's the best time you want to pick it. But these aren't bad. Don't throw those out. All you have to do is cook them down a little bit harder, or you have to add a little bit more flavor to it, meaning sauces. So take some soy sauce, teriyaki, Worcestershire sauce, minced garlic, salt and pepper. Cook that down for about 15 minutes on a medium-low heat, and they'll be delicious. You just have to, they're a little bit more bitter to naturally, you don't necessarily want to eat them raw unless you have a really good ranch that you just soak it in. Have a little broccoli with your ranch. But they're still good. Don't throw them out. Even if they start to put a yellow flower on, just pick those yellow flowers off and still, again, cook it down a little bit longer. Let's see what else we got. Oh, jalapenos. Look at these. Still getting some nice jalapenos coming off this plant. Again, I did not plant this. This came up randomly. Here's a green pepper plant that came up randomly. This is about ready. Probably could pick that now, but I'll leave it go. These tomato plants are just about done. They got hit by the frost. I didn't pull them yet because there's still some on the top that might turn, so I'm going to let them a little bit longer just to see what happens. Random pepper plant, some carrots that I planted here late but they're still coming. Here's my green bean plants. Bush, they're still, oh, look at this. Look at that still. So let me give you some advice when picking beans, and maybe you already know this, but when you're picking beans, take about 5 minutes and go through that plant, but then walk away. Go to some other part of your garden and come back 10 minutes later or so. Reason why is it's so much green between the vines and the leaves and the beans themselves, small, large beans ready to be picked. Your eyes start to lose track of them. So you think you've got them all. If you walk away for 10 minutes and come back, you'll find 30 more beans that are ready to be picked that you just missed. And you were looking right at them, you're staring right at them. So take your time, walk away, come back. Let's see what else we got. Here's a 5'5" pepper plant. Look at this. I'm 5'7". Hi, take a selfie. Click. I don't know why this thing got so huge, but 5'5" pepper plant. Started producing. It's got, they're little tiny, see if I can show you here. Tiny little peppers. And this is the first I've seen it. They've had flowers and flowers have just fallen off, but now these peppers are coming. I'm gonna see if they actually grow to be larger. I don't know if they will. We'll see, but I've never seen a pepper plant that high around my garden. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's some more radishes in the ground. Those are about ready to be picked. There's some turnips. I know I have some turnips here. More turnips. There's a turnip coming right there. These are more back here. These are more radishes. Well, that one's getting woody. Oh, it's a slug. Okay. So I like to disclose some things. If you watched some of my videos last year, spiders and I don't get along. I don't mind a lot of insects. I don't mind worms, flies, bees. I don't mind all those things, but spiders and I don't get along, and slugs. I don't need you around. So if you're a slug and you hear this, I apologize, but you're not welcome here. Stay out of my garden. But they're good for the garden. Not really, but in my eyes. Chili pepper plant, still going. Here's all my pepper plants, still producing great. These things are really nice. Here's that old broccoli plant, some more lettuces, leaf lettuce coming up. Some of the spinach, here's these kale plants. The never-ending kale supply. Just looking great. I did pick off some leaves that weren't. Looking great. You still got my oregano, thyme, sage still coming in. Parsley, I picked some of this to show you. Some of this parsley is turning a little bit, but then I still got some great parsley here. And here's this ghost pepper plant, the monster that just will not stop producing. Oh, I want to show you this. Maybe you guys can help me out. These are coming up. This is certainly an edible plant, and it looks to me like celery. I did not plant this, and there was celery over in this place last year, but I did not plant celery this year. But this to me looks like a celery plant that's actually growing on its own. So I'm gonna let that go and see how that produces. I'd love to have celery. I completely forgot about celery, and then when I went to the store, the farmer's market or the greenhouse, they didn't have any. So I never got to plant any. That would be huge. That would be a great surprise if that came up. Let's see what else we got going. Here are these random tomato plants. Again, I'm letting these grow just because it'll die and decompose and give me some natural nutrients. But I also kind of just curious how they do. I mean, they're so tight. I just want to see what happens. If we have more mild fall, who knows? Who knows? Here's some garlic I planted. They're starting to sprout up. And there's more where Monty, our dog, dug up some of that. Here's where these tomato plants were. They died. I pulled them this morning. They produced what they could. Regenerate. My cantaloupes were here. If you guys remember cantaloupes, they didn't produce. So I yanked them. They were dead. Now, this pepper plant just started producing too. I'm getting some nice ones on it. This came up in August, this pepper plant. August, and it's growing out. So this side of the garden just doesn't do it. You've been hearing me in some of my videos. I got to figure it out for next year. I think there's just not enough nutrients. There's a lot of clay on the bottom, and I think that has something to do with it as well, because it used to be a sandbox, but we're right near a creek, so a lot of clay. So I'm just going to overload it with nutrients next year. All these compost bins, at least 2 of them are going to have plenty of compost by next spring. So I'm going to overload it with topsoil and compost and sand, and I'm going to make this happen. Some plants just don't do well over here. So I've noticed vining fruit, cantaloupes, watermelon do not do well, but pepper plants do. So I think I'm going to make this my pepper area, because they like drier soil naturally. Drier or harder, they can grow in that stuff because they're used to like South American soil, things like that, where you get a lot of sun, not necessarily a lot of rain. One quick shower, and then it doesn't rain for 3 weeks to a month. So I think I'm gonna try pepper plants over here. Tomato plants did great over here, but they also died early too. If you remember, they died pretty early. Now some of it was my fault, but they still should have hung on until now. They still should be producing, so we'll give that a shot. Let's see what else we got. I think that might be about it. Yeah, I think that's it. So listen, hope you have a good day. Keep gardening. You can still plant. I'm fine. Go put some garlic in the ground. You can still have that produce. Potatoes, you can put some potatoes in the ground now. There's a few other things you can do. So hope you're having a good season. Get out there. Oh, let's see they took him in. Monty. Let me go show you the dog here. Hold on a second. I think he went inside. Forget it. I'll show you another time. But have a good time. We'll see you soon. Take care.